Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the briefing. Yesterday, Minister of State Hina Rabbani Kar and officers of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs bid farewell to outgoing Foreign Secretary, Mr. Sohail Mahmood. It was an occasion for us to pay tribute to his stellar diplomatic career, sagacity, foresight on foreign policy, and his humane and humble nature. His leadership and deep sense of commitment to the country are going to be a strong legacy in Foreign Service of Pakistan. As you're aware, the Prime Minister visited New York from 19th to 23rd of September to attend the high-level segment of the 77th UN General Assembly session. The Foreign Minister and other members of the cabinet accompanied the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister attended several high-level meetings and events, held bilateral meetings with heads of state and government of key countries, including Iran, France, European Union, Japan, Spain, Austria, Belgium, and others, and attended a reception hosted by the US President, met the UN Secretary General, the President of the General Assembly, as well as the Managing Director of the IMF and President of the World Bank, apart from other meetings. The key objective of the visit was to highlight the colossal damage caused by the floods in Pakistan. The Prime Minister drew attention of the international community to this calamity in his address to the UN General Assembly on 23rd and urged mobilization of resources for relief, rehabilitation and reconstruction in Pakistan. He underlined that this disaster was the impact of climate change to which Pakistan has contributed minimally. The Prime Minister conveyed the same message in all his interactions and advocated the need for global action to halt climate change and to compensate developing countries for loss and damage from climate impact. There were positive responses from several of the Prime Minister's interlocutors, including the French President, the UN Secretary General, IMF, World Bank, and other key leaders, including US Special Envoy for Climate Change, Mr. Kerry. All of them agreed and committed to help Pakistan mobilize international support. An international conference focusing on sustainable rebuilding, rehabilitation, and reconstruction will be convened once the damage and needs assessment and a comprehensive plan are prepared. During his address to the General Assembly and in other interactions, the Prime Minister also outlined Pakistan's perspective on a number of other issues of concern to Pakistan and the wider international community. He also drew attention to the grave situation in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and the fact that this dispute was the main source of tension between Pakistan and India. To resume a dialogue and ease tensions, India should reverse its illegal and unilateral actions taken since 5th of August 2019. The Prime Minister invited India to work for peace and allow both countries to focus on the alleviation of poverty, disease, and hunger. The Foreign Minister also had an extensive program. You would have noticed he attended various high-level meetings and events, including the closed-door Leaders Roundtable on COP27, a food security summit co-organized by EU, African Union, and the US, the OIC Contact Group on Jammu and Kashmir, OIC Contact Group on Muslims in Europe, the OIC Committee of Six on Palestine, the ministerial meeting of UN Friends of Mediation, a ministerial meeting of the Group of Friends of Global Development Initiative. The Foreign Minister also chaired the annual coordination meeting of the OIC Foreign Ministers, as well as the G77 and China annual meeting of Foreign Ministers. As you're aware, Pakistan is chairing both the OIC and the G77 this year. The foreign minister also hosted a meeting of young foreign ministers and a high-level event on loss and damage, which was organized by Pakistan. The foreign minister also held bilateral meetings with a large number of his counterparts and also had extensive media and think tank interactions. The Minister of State also had various bilateral interactions besides participating in several events, including on feminist foreign policy hosted by the German foreign minister, a ministerial meeting of the non-aligned movement, and a high-level meeting on UN peacekeeping that was hosted by the Irish foreign minister. Later, as you have been following, the foreign minister embarked on a trip to Washington, D.C., accompanied by the Minister of State. During the visit, the foreign minister had a very productive meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, during which U.S. announced additional $10 million for Pakistan's flood relief efforts, bringing the total contribution to $66.1 million. The foreign minister also delivered a talk at Wilson Center. He also called on Senator Robert Menendez and Senator James Risch. The Minister of State also had engagements, including a meeting with U.S. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. To recall briefly for you, the Prime Minister had led Pakistan delegation to the meeting of the Council of Heads of State of Shanghai Cooperation Organization in Samarkand on 15 to 16 September. All 8 heads of state and government of SCO member states attended the summit meeting in person. The Prime Minister's statement at the summit conveyed Pakistan's vision for the strategic direction of SCO in the face of global political and economic transformation. The Prime Minister presented a compelling case for collective action by SCO countries to combat the ravages of climate change. You would also recall that at the invitation of the British government, the Prime Minister represented Pakistan at the state funeral of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II in London on 19 September. Yesterday, Prime Minister received a telephone call from the Egyptian President who offered condolences to the people of Pakistan over the loss of lives in the floods and also announced relief assistance from Egypt. It is a matter of grave concern, ladies and gentlemen, that Indian occupation forces have martyred 5 more Kashmiri youth in extrajudicial killings and fake encounters in Kulgam and Kupwara areas in illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir in the past week. We also continue to draw attention of the international community to the deteriorating situation, particularly the health of Kashmiri political prisoners, including Hurriyat leaders who are languishing in different jails of India and in IIOJK, and we demand their immediate release. We also condemn India's illegal and unprovoked, literally unjustified economic assault on IIOJK, which is manifested by the recent halting of fresh fruit-laden trucks from Kashmir Valley by the Indian occupation forces. This is a kind of an undeclared economic blockade of Kashmiri fruit growers and a deliberate attempt, in our view, to destroy the economy of the occupied Jammu and Kashmir and to punish the Kashmiri people for their legitimate struggle for self-determination. On the floods and the ongoing international assistance and relief efforts, we keep you updating as we transition from rescue and relief phase of the response to this unprecedented climate catastrophe to the more challenging rehabilitation and reconstruction phase that is upcoming. We are grateful to the unparalleled generosity and resilience of our fellow Pakistanis who have contributed in a big way to help their brethren. We are also thankful to the international friends and partners for sending over 130 relief flights besides ships, trucks, and goodness trains to help the flood victims. Excuse me. We are determined to overcome this adversity with determination, grit, perseverance, and effective mobilization of national and international efforts. I thank you.